Hey everybody, it's Chris Eads, known online as Wootini, here with another Gay Gamer video podcast. To start off with just a couple of quick movie reviews, I went to see two movies. First, I saw Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which is super fun. I didn't realize going into it, I thought it was just a fun adventure of a bunch of Spidey characters from parallel universes coming together and fighting a bad guy. I didn't realize that it was technically, it was primarily the Miles Morales Spider-Man origin story, with all this other stuff happening in it, as part of that. So, I was not prepared for the first, 20 minutes or so to be as slow as they were. Not that they were bad, because there's lots of, it's a very funny movie, there's a lot of great jokes, and it's very funny, but I didn't realize that we were in for the typical superhero origin movie, where it takes a while to get them to their powers, and then it takes a while more for them to even get into a costume. In this case, a real costume. But it's super fun. It is delightful. So many good jokes. I could tell there was a guy behind me in the theater that was also a big Spider-Man fan, because we were reacting to the same stuff that maybe some other people weren't. I mean, some jokes are normal, so everybody laughs, but then some jokes are very specific, or references, or whatever. So, it's great if you're a Spider-Man fan. If you're not, it's still a terrific superhero movie. And stay for the very end credits. Stay all the way through, because the end credits, the last end credit music is terrific, and then there is the funniest joke in the whole movie is literally at the end of the credits. So, stay for it. I also saw it in 3D, because with AMC A-List I can, and I almost regretted seeing it in 3D, because in the beginning, the style of the movie, it's CGI animation, but it's meant to look like a comic book, and it uses a lot of comic book stuff, like captions and speed lines, and one of the things that they do is, if something is in the foreground or the background, and it's supposed to be out of focus, they do like a double image. So, like a 3D movie without the glasses, and it's a double image. So watching it in 3D, it's in 3D, it's in the background, or the foreground, you're wearing glasses, it's shaped in 3D, but it's still a double image, and it sort of fucked with my head, and I was just like, ah. And so sometimes the visual style of the movie was a little awkward in 3D. But by the halfway point, I was totally in 100% and had no problems anymore. I just took a little while to get used to it. And there was some really fun, like especially during the action scenes, and like jumping off a building and the web swinging around. Very good, very cool 3D effects there. The other movie that I saw was Mortal Engines, the new sci-fi, post-apocalyptic sci-fi adventure film. And that one I saw in IMAX 3D, which I'd never seen an IMAX 3D movie before. Not a fan, as it turns out. I found there was a bit of a... They use different 3D glasses, so they're thinner, and it's a brighter picture, which is terrific. So it's more like watching a regular movie. It's not as dim as the regular glasses are. My husband always complains about that. That's what he hates the most, that it dims it so much. So it's a brighter picture, but it was creating like this glare sometimes that I found kind of distracting. There was like a glare on the glasses, and I was like, But it was nice to have it on the big screen and in 3D and with great sound, because the movie itself is decidedly average. It's not bad, per se. It's just that they create this amazing post-apocalyptic world where, like, cities are, like, roaming the countryside looking for resources, and there are, like, these big steampunked motorized cities, and then there's, like, the giant predator cities like London, which is, like, huge, and the visuals are impressive in 3D because you get a sense of the scale. It's kind of cool. And the cities, the predator cities will suck up the little cities and then take their workers for slave labor and use the rest for scrap to power their giant city. Then there's a few, like, camps, like, whatever, but there's this, it's this fascinating world that they don't explore. They just sort of set it up and then have an adventure in it. And the adventure is, like, fine. It's a little predictable. Although there is one subplot involving a cyborg that turned out to be, like, way more interesting than the main storyline, but it was just this small subplot and then it was over, and I'm like, I would have liked to explore that a little more. Or any aspect of the world, really, because it's like, it's all there, it's all very detailed, it's clearly, like, set up and thought out, but I wanted to explore how life is lived in this world. But instead you have the, you know, girl out for revenge and trying to save the, you know, world. Not the whole world, just a section of the world, and stop the evil bad guy from doing something horrible. But, I mean, it's okay. There's a lot going on. I do appreciate that at the ending, it was an ending. And it wasn't like, you know, they were trying to set it up so that they could do a series of films. Like, this was it. It almost feels like they took a bunch of books and condensed it into one movie, because it was a lot going on. There's a lot of characters, and, like, it felt a little overstuffed. Like, they were trying too hard to do everything. And I feel like they could have, like, taken the story and just, like, trimmed out bits and bobs. Not the cyborg subplot, because that was actually interesting, but trimmed out a little bit of here and there just to streamline it, and it could have been a little more effective. But it was okay. I mean, in 3D IMAX it was much more visually impressive, so that helped to make up for the rather cliched adventure storyline. As for gaming, I am still slogging through Okami. The only way I know that I am near the end is that in the walkthrough I am in now the next to last section of the walkthrough, so I know that I'm close to the end. So close. Because I literally just got to another boss battle with Orichi and defeated all of his heads, and we defeated him again, and that's still not the final boss of the game. I don't know who is. I hope that I will find out. I think it's these twin demons in this mountain, and when I defeat them, maybe that's the end of the game. Or maybe there's yet another battle after that. Maybe I'll have to fight all of them at once. I don't know. I have been playing a lot more PS4 this past week. I've actually made quite good progress in Red Dead Redemption 2. I did a bunch of missions there. I've upgraded my camp quite a bit, because I had some missions where it brought in quite a bit of cash. I robbed a bank. It was awesome. And I appreciated being given the choice. They were like, do you want to blow up the safes and steal the money, or do you want to crack the safes? And I'm like, let me try cracking them. And it's a very simple, you just move the thumbsticks around and listen for the clicks and stuff. It was relatively easy mechanic to pop every single safe. And I got through all of them. And I was very proud of myself. And we made like thousands of dollars, and it was awesome. Except, when I went back to camp, the ledger does not show any of that. And I discovered, I had to poke around online, apparently the gang share that goes towards the gang savings is not part of the ledger. I guess this is some sort of gang savings that Dutch hides away for emergencies? I don't know. Or Dutch is just stealing it himself? That might be a story point later. I don't know. I'm still early on. I'm only in chapter 3. So, I'm just like, okay, whatever. But I had enough cash that I was able to funnel it into the group savings, or the kitty, so that I could then upgrade parts of the camp. And apparently after upgrading Dutch's quarters so they're even fancier than they already were, which were pretty fancy, I now can, it says that other people will donate more. And I'm like, well, that's good. Hopefully they will. They don't seem to be yet, but we'll see what happens as time passes. Because it's kind of rude that I have to keep taking my savings and funneling it into the group so I can upgrade the camp, because I need to make sure that I have some savings to be able to pay off my bounties in case, you know, I get in trouble again with a story mission. Because the story missions keep making me do horrible things, and then I end up, like after that bank robbery, I had to go and pay off like a $120 bounty. That one was thankfully not too expensive, even though we did kill a bunch of people. I try not to kill too many people because I feel like that, A, isn't cool, and B, ups your bounty. But I also thought, where we are now in the South, there is the Grey family and the Braithwaite family, and they are at war with each other. And of course they have their Romeo and Juliet kids, like, in love with each other. But, like, the Greys are clearly, like, run down but good-hearted, and the Braithwaites are doing really well because they're evil and ruthless. So, at one point, you are given the choice to go to a mission on the Grey side or the Braithwaite side. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to pick the Grey side because I like them, and I want to help them because the Braithwaites are kind of horrible. And they also have one of their relatives locked in an outhouse on the grounds, which I stumbled across by accident. So I don't know if that's going to come back into play at some point. I hope it does, because it's fascinating and creepy. But after I did the Grey mission, the Braithwaite mission was still there, and you have to do it. It's a story mission that needs to be done. I thought once you picked a side, the other side would then disappear, but it didn't, and you're playing both sides against the middle. So I ended up having to do that mission where I didn't want to set fire to the Grey plantation, but I did. I had to. Arthur didn't care. I, as the player, didn't want to do this, but Arthur's like, yep, whatever, for money, who cares? And I'm just like, ugh, because this game keeps making me do horrible things. And sometimes I can justify it because he'll have conversations with people at camp where he says, like, oh, I don't know, I'm a bad person. And they're like, no, Arthur, you have a good heart. And he's like, I don't know, maybe. I still feel like a bad person. And so I'm able to kind of justify this awkward storytelling because when I'm playing and doing random things, I'm doing good things. And I'm doing favors for people, and I'm saying hi to people in the street, and I'm trying not to be a bad guy and steal horses and kill people randomly. But then I do a story mission where I'm forced to rob, steal, kill, whatever, and I try to justify it by being like, well, Arthur wants to be a good guy, but his lifestyle forces him to do bad things sometimes. But then sometimes it doesn't work, like with setting fire to the tobacco plants, and it's like, yep, let's do this is fun. And I'm like, no, Arthur, it's not fun. You shouldn't be saying things like that. But whatever. I also picked up No Man's Sky again at the end of the week because there was an update on Thursday with a new community event that I wanted to participate in until I discovered that I can't. Well, I can, but I don't want to. I went up into space, sent out a signal, and it wasn't Polo, it was the Quicksilver bot who's like, hey, I'm trying to help out Polo and collect some data for him, so help me out. And he's like, pick a mission. And it was like destruction and something else and exploration. And of course I pick exploration because that's what I do. I'm all about the exploring. And so I go, and I was in a new system. I had just gotten to this system. So I was like, great, I'll explore that planet. And then I fly back up into space, and I can't seem to contact him. And I'm like, what's up with that? So the next day, I go to play again, and I contact him, and he's like, hey, pick a category. I'm like, okay, I pick exploration. But it doesn't seem to upload anything I discovered from yesterday. And I'm like, do I have to upload it the same day? Because there's a countdown where it's like you have 16 hours left. And I'm like, okay, so maybe I need to discover stuff and then fly back up into space and upload him before the day is over. Because you only get, it's like a 30-day event, but you have to do everything day by day. So within the day you have to do one, upload your discoveries. But I didn't seem to be able to do that. And then I noticed that I wasn't supposed to be discovering planets. I was supposed to be discovering systems. and it's telling me warp to another system to claim it as a discovery. And I was at 0 of 4. And I'm like, wait, so I'm supposed to like get a bunch of warp cores and then warp to a system, discover it, claim it, warp to another one, claim it, and do all 4 of them in one day? No. When I go to a system, I want to explore the planets, see what's what, get some stuff, do some little mini helper mission things, you know? I don't want to like skip all those planets. They might be gorgeous and beautiful. I need to see them. My gaming OCD insists that I at least land there, and then if it's horribly toxic or there's really mean sentinels, then I leave. But at least I landed on it and I'll claim that discovery. So I don't want to warp to 4 different systems in one day and then have to double back so that I can check them all out later. Like, that's not right. So now I'm sort of like, ugh. I guess I won't be helping with the totals towards this particular community event, which is lasting a month. Who knows, maybe over the course of the month I'll try one of the other categories and see if that's more doable, though I don't like fighting in combat. Like, I was annoyed because I was on one planet that had, like, salvage scattered around, and I tried to pick up some salvage, and as I'm trying to, like, you know, free the salvage and get to it, every time I made a little progress, a corrupted sentinel would like pop up and be all scary and attack me. Thankfully it was just one at a time, and killing that didn't activate more sentinel backup, so that was a little easier, one at a time. But yeah, so I'm a little sad that I don't think I'm going to be participating a whole lot in this particular community event. It's just the way it's structured. It doesn't work for my particular gameplay strategy. And I'm not changing how I play the game just to suit the community event. That would be no fun at all. Although, and I almost don't want to mention this, but after a recent system update, my PS4 has been behaving properly again, knock wood. And I'm able to put it to sleep and then wake it up again, and I don't have to turn it off and then load everything back up and wait 5 minutes before I can actually get started playing a game, especially with Red Dead, because that takes a long time to load, longer than No Man's Sky somehow. So, so far it's been good, and it's been behaving, and I've been able to do that. Of course, this happened before, like, a month or so ago, where there was an update to my TV, and my PlayStation started behaving, but only for like a day or two, and then it went right back to not waking up, and I had to force quit it and turn it off every time. So, fingers crossed that it's gonna work this time. Pray for me. And we'll come back next time, and I'll talk about more stuff. Bye!